it is I. Remember the Fallout show? Well, it proved such a tremendous success that a season 2 is in the works. Let's reminisce some. One deuce of a show it must have been. Now, what I do remember of it... Oh, Michael Christopher. His performance was neat to see, I suppose. Then, there was that one time when Walton Goggins stood in the middle of a town filled to the brim with armed gunslingers. Just standing there with a 1,000 bottle cap bounty placed on his head, right? And then everyone in said town proceeded very clearly to telegraph to him the intention of starting to aim their guns. And if memory serves, over the course of that entire ordeal, not once did they attack him from 2 opposite directions simultaneously. And I believe not one of them managed to shoot our lad in the head, despite the advantage of having him a clear, unobscured target. And him not at all knowing where his armed adversaries were, them being far too many to keep track of. And the fact that when they did score a hit on him, although not in the head, it did bugger all, allowing him to stand up within seconds and move about as though nothing had happened. But then, remember the old songs? Boy, were they neat and varied. Oh, it's coming back to me. Recall how after that, in the exact moment he starts aiming at the vault girl, the Full Metal Idiot shows up, and Goggins just stands there, gun aimed at her head, just staring at him. And then, once the metal dolt approaches, he finally decides to kill her, knowing full well that, Aaron Moten, I think is the actor's name, is not close enough to save her. And how then Aaron, who clearly isn't close or fast enough, somehow blocks the bullet that was supposed to come out at the speed of a, bullet, but ends up graciously waiting for the suit to stand in its trajectory. Oh, and how this metal monstrosity tackles our protagonist to the ground and presses all of that powered and armored weight on her body, plus all of the rubble of the wall and supports that he had destroyed, and she remains entirely unharmed. Well, then again, Ella Purnell, a neat performance, isn't it, for what material she had? Oh, and then after that, Aaron, still in a full suit of powered armor impenetrable to Goggins' bullets, punches him smack dab in the chest with a force that makes him fly all the way up and into the stairs. But the ghoul stays fully mobile and in fact takes advantage of it by getting up onto the catwalks and shooting at Aaron from there. And how then Aaron breaks the supports, making Goggins fall down about 10 feet, whereupon the ghoul is thrown with incredible powered strength through a local shop. And his ribs, and every other bit really, are not only intact, he is back on his feet within a minute. Oh, then, truth be told, many of the costumes and makeup are kind of neat, dusty, grimy, fitting the post-apocalyptia. I remember that. Isn't that worth more than all that pesky writing? Oh, and right, remember how Aaron then gets his suit's foot stuck in an arbitrary hole in the ground, covered by floorboards, and comically cannot get it out for the life of him, despite all the power of the fusion core and the force of the suit, as shown previously. And then simply allows Goggins to walk behind him and cut his air pipe. And how the ghoul then somehow knocks him in his metal suit back and has him fly away in a frenzy, screaming as though it was Looney Tunes. But not before he catches him with a perfectly convenient lasso hook and crashes him into a plane. What fun it was, I remember. But Michael Emerson, he was kind of neat and cryptic, and Tim Kaine said he kind of walked like the original sprites in Fallout 1. My, it is all coming back, no kidding. All of them superficial elements outside the story flooding in. The score, the sets, the cinematography, all $150 million worth of it. All of the elements that are besides the storytelling, they are taking hold as though they are in any way pertinent to the script writing side of things. Oh, and the references, the Easter eggs. Remember John Robko? He was in this show, And they've shown us a still of his Las Vegas as well. Let us not be too hasty. I know that precious fighting scene did no good being remembered, but maybe there's something to hold on to. It can't be a microcosm of the whole, can it? I'll stop with the act. Yes, it can. Yes, it is. Every singular protagonist is soaked in plot armor. Whether it is they're just stared at instead of being shot, or they receive a beating and then are not killed or thrown in a ditch, but left alone with crowbars lying about, in turn facilitating their coming back only a few minutes later to give their attackers a beating right back. And how they seem to be veritable super soldiers with their endurance and sheer bodily strength to withstand throws and punches that would shatter all bone. And how, were it not for the predetermined outcome of those interactions, it would make scarily little sense for the characters to do what they did. But when saved by the grace of the scriptwriters, suddenly the plot is allowed to continue. And how not even a cut-off finger is a consequence for our characters, and on the off chance that one gets shot, they will inevitably stumble upon a safe haven of a vault that would patch them right up. Now, with so much of the budget going into the aesthetics, rendered pointless and vacuous by the brain-dead script, it would be unfair not to allocate some more time to it. Walton Goggins did put up a great performance of an old-timey Western star, yes, and yes, he does look the part. And the practical sets, I've not given enough mention to the real, practical, genuine, boots-on-the-ground sets, have I? I suppose you are right, and I should. I wonder just how much sense characters getting to those sets makes. Good old LA ending up to be just a few city blocks stuck together with a bit of a desert tacked on. A real desert at that, I'm sure. And the characters invariably bumping into one another in this area that's supposed to be hundreds of square miles, passing through the exact spots as the other protagonists by complete accident, at the exact time they needed, all the blasted time. Oh, Pennell's character and all the authentic vastness served her well, did it? You'd think an underground dweller all her life should have been lost in all that boundless, unbroken horizon, and yet somehow she manages to walk in the precise, exact direction she needs to, without any guidance, and is never murdered by fauna or the roving gangs of raiders, as we're shown exist, nor is she ever lost. Oh, by the by, mind the soft magic system they introduce with the serum and the shattered foot reassembling itself there, and the Voltec plot that revolves around the idea that a bunch of top-level executives decide a radioactive wasteland with a few dozen vault dwellers under their command is better than their position at the time, and that somehow the fact that they profit off of fallout shelters makes them eager to start this nuclear war, because naturally, who wouldn't want to live in a world post an environmental calamity without any of the amenities of the thriving pre-war era? Any capitalist would jump at the opportunity, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm a greedy capitalist pig myself, and boy do I dream of it. But the show decides to twirl the capitalist mustache further into a cornucopia of silliness, as one of the old Voltec executives, awoken from cryosleep 200 years after the bombs, nukes a large city, a sort of a reborn hub of Western American civilization, with his wife in it, because he doesn't want the competition above ground. Don't ask me how he procured the nukes or the explosives for it. Now, I hear you cry, but I found all of the references to the Fallout universe, all of the products and ads and towns and factions. They said Enclave Remnants, there was a wanted super mutant poster. While I do hear your cry, little one, you, I believe, are too far gone. But at the same time, you've not gone much further than the heroes of this show, so good company. I'm not jesting. Listen, as far as a couple of our secondary protagonists are concerned, the evil plan of the residents of Vault 31 is to be democratically elected by a public vote. Oh, and how no secret plan or passage is ever guarded, and you can get to secret levels and walk through the vault doors you're not supposed to walk through unobstructed. How some spots on power armor are made out of paper mache, a critical oversight. Someone's going to be fired for that blunder. And you can hit them in pitch darkness, perhaps with your eyes closed and maybe arms tied behind your back. And how the fusion core is immediately accessible from the outside, allowing you to lock whoever is inside the suit, Tin Man style. And Emerson's head disappearing conveniently right before the ghoul catches up to Lucy, and then is conveniently not lost forever in the depths, as our other protagonists get to that exact spot as well. And how Voltac seemingly precluded the invention of infinite energy, when it would have been the most lucrative invention in the history of the world and would allow them even more control over the state of affairs. But the pretense is, infinite energy doesn't pay. Instead, they are turned into silly villains, with zero foresight as they confidently proceed not to anticipate anyone surviving on the surface, rendering them all clinically insane, and thus perfectly serviceable in modern Hollywood writing. We'll get 'em next time. Wasn't it preemptively renewed for a third season? And of course, Andor only gets 2.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.